How much was this thing?
Ugh.
Had the same reaction.
Oh.
At least 100. I think it's between 100 and 140.
It's not bad, not bad. Yeah, I had the same reaction too.
Drink the water.
I had the same.
That shit rank as fuck.
Drink the water.
I don't know. Wait.
I know they sell at Home Depot for 100, but they're a bit small.
Yeah, so I know the last one that Phil and the mom had brought over, I had used one of them, and that thing was just a little too loud. It had like good wind, but that thing was just loud as hell, and I was like, I cannot sleep with this thing on.
You had the same reaction as I did. That shit's just strong.
You want another, or are you good?
I'm good for another if you want it, but if you don't, I'm good.
Did you want another?
You're good. I think she's good. I think she's tapped.
Okay. No, somebody, you want another head.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're good, man.
I was so confused. Instructions were unclear. You okay? So. So, how'd you feel about the finale? They can't see you. You don't like it? Okay. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I feel like they did Jax good, but they also did Jax dirty. Because I love hearing all about Jax's backstory. Hearing about like how down on his luck he was, how everything was screwing him, and in return he was screwing it back. I was like, alright, cool. It all makes sense. It's all fair. But, I don't know. When I started hearing shit about, like... Were you watching it, Dallas, when it was going on?
50-50.
Did you see them reference what happened to his mom? So, when they started talking about the past, when it came to, like, the character of Jax... Like, it's been implied throughout the show that there's probably some very dark and shady shit going on with this character and who he was in real life. But it's probably like dark, like he was abused. Not so much like he was doing crazy shit. As far as I know, I didn't notice anything like that. Now, he was acting crazy in the Digital Circus, but it was more like, hey, what made him that way? And so in the finale, they kind of are like, oh, his dad was abusive to him. His dad was like a real piece of work. Which I found it funny that the episode drops on like the weekend of Father's Day. So, man, they were blasting the fuck out of some parents in this shit.
When was Father's Day?
Huh?
When was Father's Day?
Today. Today's
Father's Day is today?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's today. No, it's today. Father's Day's today. Yeah. Say Happy Father's Day to him. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't gotta message anyone except my stepdad. Happy Father's Day, so I'm pretty gooch.
Message your sister, Happy Father's Day. She'll probably get so offended. How dare you?
But the interesting thing about Jax was that they implied he may have killed his mom.
That's dark.
Oh, it's dark. And it felt like... I was like, alright, I'm very intrigued.
Was it like some postpartum depression type shit, or
No, like
accidentally?
Right? So what ended up happening was that he got into an argument with her, and at this point he's already very much, it seems, verbally, emotionally, mentally, I believe physically abused by his dad. And even when his dad was out of their life, his mom kind of still acted like she cared about him and couldn't let him go. And I guess that rubbed Jax the wrong way. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm interested to hear more about this. And, you know, he basically says, like, my mom and me, we got into a fight and I pushed her. and I thought she was playing, but she didn't get back up, and she just never got back up.
Wait,
He pushed his mom because she was trying to embrace him after she lambasted him with a bunch of insults and degrading shit. And when she, after calling him a bunch of horrible names, went to go hug him, he reacted by pushing her away.
Yeah.
And when he physically pushed her away, she hit something like a wall or like a table. And when she fell to the ground, she just didn't get back up. And instead of him checking on her, he was afraid and he ran away. And when he ran away, he never returned. So he actually doesn't know if she's dead or alive. And so I thought that was an interesting thing. My headcanon was, we're going to see what happens at the end of this episode, what happened to his mother. Because that's a very big thing to just kind of drop on the finale about a very, you know, I'll say eccentric character, to just kind of drop it in the finale and not give any word about it, right?
Yeah.
Keep that in your mind, right? So the first thing is that they say, hey, you know, he may have killed his mom. Now, the girlfriend that he has, which is called Ribbit, she's like, oh, hey, you know, you shouldn't really worry too much about it, you know, because if the police didn't come for you, your mom is probably fine. That's sound, but the issue is that the episode never really gives a time frame from when he did that to his mom, when he ran away, when he became homeless, and then when he was able to even get his hands on a headset that lets him into this game while he was said homeless. Like, it doesn't really make sense. That's the problem. There's not a real consensus of, like, they just kind of give you a bunch of flashes, a bunch of different times in his life, and they kind of say, this is an event that happened. But the problem is that, while I'm aware the pushing of his mom happened before he got into the circus,
Yeah.
I'm still unclear of how a homeless person afforded such a technological device and or broke into somewhere to play it. It's never established. It's never established how he got his hands on a device while he was homeless. So it doesn't make sense.
Was it just him and Ribbit? Or was it
Ribbit,
Wasn't it also the clown dude?
Ribbit and the clown are different users that logged in from different headsets. So this is kind of like SAO. You
That's
can
what I was
log in.
thinking. I was like, so were they not able to log out if they died inside the circus? Did they die in real life?
That's the thing. And the thing is, it doesn't really say. That's the thing.
Cool concept. I like that though.
That's kind of what it was for 8 episodes. If you died in the circus, you died in real life. Episode 9 kind of muddies the waters a bit, and it kind of makes it a little harder to look at the show again, to rewatch it and look at these characters that are dying, or these characters that have died, and really care because of what the ending does. And I'll get to that. So they, you know, basically with Jax, you know, he's like, okay, so what ends up, you know, the reason why we're getting this kind of existentialism from Jax, where he's talking about everything, he's talking about life, he's talking about his life, he's getting his, like, he's looking back on it, he's thinking back to everything, is because he basically died. He abstracted, which is their term for dying. And you basically become this distorted, glitchy monstrosity. And from all accounts, there is allegedly no way to bring them back. Here's the problem. They start having, Jax has abstracted, so essentially he's dead. He is this creature. Pomni finds him, and the reason why we get all of these deep thoughts about him is because Pomni went up to him while he was abstracted, put him in complete darkness, and she gave him a hug. Now, this hug was killing her, and she was hugging him for a while, and it was killing her, but she was still hugging him. While she was hugging him, she was able to get to the real Jax, and she was able to basically bring him back enough to communicate with him. So it implies and kind of leaves the air open to the idea that if you're abstracted, you could come back through, I know it sounds corny, but still, the power of love and acceptance. Because that's what the whole point of the digital circus is. All these characters are suffering from different forms of depression for different reasons. None of them know what love or care feels like. At one point they did, now they're all like on edge. And
Jackson Avatar, a male or a female?
he's a boy.
So the real version was a boy, right?
Yeah, he's a boy.
Okay, because I swear I thought I was seeing a female. I was like, I was so confused. I was like, wait.
I think the only one who is identifying as something other than male or female, and they identify, I don't know if it's trans or non-binary or whatever, is Zubul. The one that's like a bunch of mixed match parts.
Yeah.
That person is, you know, different. They're a different gender.
That's why I was a little confused. I was like, oh, All right.
Jax,
That'd be more
Jax, I
now.
believe. I mean, I don't know what his interests or anything lie. He kind of made it sound like he just likes to dress up from time to time or likes to look pretty. Because when Ribbit puts a bow on him, he blushes, and when he is caught wearing a dress for the second time in the episode, when people confront him, he's like, "Oh, this is the best way to make other people, uncomfortable." So it just kind of comes off like he just likes wearing a dress from time to time. It's probably what it is. I'm not sure. But
That's the best way to make other people uncomfortable.
yeah, that's what he said, which is crazy. But the thing with Jax, and the part I really didn't like, was the whole episode
Jimmy Greenwood?
feels like it's themed around Jax and like him and Pomni. So when Pomni's giving Jax a hug, and eventually she just can't handle it anymore, so the team has to come in and save her.
Yeah.
They do save her, but they save her as she's making the biggest breakthrough with Jax, and he's saying, "I don't want to go. I really don't want to go." And it's at that moment that she is saved because he started freaking out more. But like the reason why he came back was because she was hugging him. Even when he was insulting her and degrading her, she was saying like basically like, "No, I love you," like through her actions. And I was like, all right, that's sweet. So it shows like there might be a way to bring people back from abstraction. Here's the thing with that. All the people who have abstracted are in the basement. So are you telling me right now that if with enough love and care, you could just bring them back from this abstraction? That's a really cool thing. They do nothing with it. They do absolutely.
Target next season.
That's the thing. This is a mini show. It ends here. This is the finale. They've confirmed this is the finale of the entire show. That's why I'm so pissed about it, because this is where you have the opportunity to bring back abstracted characters, and we could see more about them. But instead they're like, no, we'll deal with it in the past, which I'm fine. You don't have to resurrect everyone. That's fine. But when you introduce this concept of legitimate digital resurrection through the power of love and friendship, yes, I'm going to question why the characters are not doing that. And the thing is, the characters do make an attempt to try and help him out, but all they did was put a tent and it ends there. So it's left open-ended if they eventually will be able to save him, and maybe if knowing that they can save him will lead to them saving maybe Ribbit and Cosmo. Cosmo being the clown. We don't know.
I think it's like a message from the creator is fuck you.
I
What the fan base did to them.
I don't know.
I think that's how I look at it. Because I feel like it would have been a lot better if the fan base treated, is it a male or female,
What?
who made Digital Circus?
I have no clue.
Them. They treated them nicely. They probably would have gotten a way better hit.
Like, with...
When you told me that they freaked out that Pomni and Jax were the main characters, that told me a lot about the fan base.
The fan base is toxic as fuck.
Yeah.
But
They're
like...
the coolest characters. I don't understand how you're mad about that.
Yeah, but like the thing with this episode is I feel like this episode gave Pomni and Jax so much character development, but then it just felt wasted by the end because, like,
That makes sense.
well, before I even get to that, there was a pacing issue with this whole episode. This episode was the only time that I watched a Digital Circus episode and I felt the pace. I have never watched a single episode, even the first one. I've watched it multiple times. I never felt a pacing issue with any of the episodes. I felt all of them felt very smooth and carried from one episode to the other. I honestly think they should have not done a movie. I think they should have done a 3-part finale. I think that's what they should have done. Each episode be 20 minutes. I felt like it would have been paced better. Because this 60-minute format, the first third was horribly paced. Everything was so somber and slow. And they make fun of it, sure, but everything was so slow. I saw Pomni walk from one edge of the room to the other. I saw her say goodbye to Ragatha for what felt like half a minute. Like, they kept looking at each other. And look, hey, I understand. You gotta do some shit to drum up the fucking runtime. I get that, I do. But here's my problem. The rest of the Amazing Digital Circus is not paced like this. Their reactions to each other are not paced like this. They're not somber and fucking taking 20, 30 minutes to fucking walk from one pace to the other. No, if they're walking from one room to the other, you see them walking for a few steps, cut to the next part, they're in the room. That's just how it is. That's just how the episodes go. It's a nice, clean format. When they went to this movie thing, the first third is ungodly slow. Ungodly slow. At the first third, I was checking my phone. I've never checked my phone during Amazing Digital Circus. First third, Checking my phone. Shit was ungodly slow. It was ridiculous. Now, not to say that they weren't writing well at some points. The second third, beautiful. I love the second third. That thing made me cry twice. That's the Jax portion. So the first third, very ungodly slow. I hated the first third. The second third, beautiful. I couldn't give you any notes. It's the longest third, so the second portion. Golly, man. That Jack stuff, it got me choked up. Because I was sitting there and I was like, I can relate to this. I can, like, really emphasize with some of the shit that he felt about himself. I've met people that felt like this. It felt almost too real at points. Which is what made me mad, because I empathize with him so much. I cried. I don't usually cry with YouTube shit, but I cried twice. I cried twice. And the problem is that I was so invested in this character's story. So when they go to an extreme and say he may or may not have killed his mom, and they leave that open-ended, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because everything else about Jax is technically answered, minus one small portion of his life that really I felt needed a bit more fleshing out. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. We do not know what happened to his mom. If she's dead or alive, that's open-ended. So that's up to interpretation.
That seems to be a trend. The leave shit just open-ended.
Oh, but I did not care.
I don't understand that shit, bro.
So they said his mom may or may not be dead. We do not know how long he was homeless for. And we do not know how and when he was homeless, did he find a gaming headset to get into the digital circus. It's never said. I don't even know where he was when he found the headset. Was he in an abandoned building? Or did he break into someone's home? Does that mean that someone found his body and he's technically arrested right now? Like, it's not really, it doesn't make sense. It's too open-ended. And then again, the ending that I'll get to the bus scene makes that a whole lot worse because it doesn't make sense. But then after you get past easily the best part of the entire episode, the Jax portion, they take Pomni out, and Pomni is, like, saved by her team. Everyone's like, we're in this together. They work to make him a tent, and they put Jax in the tent. Jax is basically forgotten after that. Now, he is mentioned one or two more times, very briefly. Like, they mention his real name, or they mention, hey, he's in the tent. That's it. They never mention if they're ever able to save Jax. And Pomni has shown that she was able to get to the real Jax. Are you telling me that if the other four go with her, like they said they would, like, hey, we're in this together, that they couldn't save Jax? And then maybe in turn save the other two abstracted characters that are in the basement? No, they leave it open-ended. They don't deal with it. Instead, they do this fucking pivot out of nowhere, that a character that's been dead for no more than like 30 minutes comes back to life because he can just do that. Fucking Kane, bro. The teeth guy, he's alive somehow. They're like, he's deleted. We deleted him. There's no way to bring him back. They spent the first half of the whole episode saying there's no way to bring him back. The boy comes back because he plays with shapes. He came back to life because he played with shapes.
He was embedded in the code when Kingdom was trying to do shit with the computer. Someone slowed it down and looked into it. I don't remember all that they said about it, but in the code, as it was going on, there was three entities. It was Kingdom, Kane, and a third entity that didn't reveal itself. And
That was the blue orb he took out of his head, right?
I don't even know if it was Bubble. It's just a third entity. I don't know if they found out who it was or who it would have been connected to. But with these three entities all, fighting on the computer, it got to a point where the third entity made Kinger delete Kane. And Kane, I think, realizing what was going on, decided to back up to an earlier copy of himself. Or at least that's what was speculated back.
Upload to that's bullshit too. No, he didn't upload to a prior copy. I'm not gonna fall for that. That's bullshit too. Because with that, it shows him literally breaking the source walls with his hand. No, he didn't go to an older copy. He just shows up. He's just weak. He took that blue part out.
He somehow ended up in the void. That I'm not quite
Well, they deleted him. They deleted him last episode. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense how he came back. I'm like, he's just back? They made it clear, like they deleted him. But now he's back. And that's another thing too. So you can kill Kane, but you can't save Jax and the others. And like, I know he doesn't have much of his power anymore, but like, he can come back. So resurrection is a thing in this show. Oh, just for the villain.
Well, he is the only AI there. That's how you know.
Huh?
I said he is the only AI there. That's how you know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why the world went gray,
Yeah.
because he wasn't there anymore.
Well, someone mentioned that when the color came back, that's when Kane was back.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he is the world, but he can still die. He even says they killed me. He says it like 3 times. He's like, when he's talking to himself and he's going crazy. So that's why I'm saying, like, this show introduces resurrection in the last part of the finale, and it introduces it technically twice. It introduces it possibly with Jax, but it's only a possibility, but it introduces it concretely with Kane. So at this point, there's no stakes. There was never any stakes. And that's the thing that pisses me off, because when you get to the final part, right? The bus scene, Jax is there. Jax shouldn't be there if he's abstracted, right? But he's there. So either, and we'll get to that about the whole realization with the Instagrams and shit by Kane, but like the very bus scene, like Jax is there. So they can resurrect. That's what I'm saying, like,
I honestly think that it was supposed to be, at some point, the real life people took the headset off and left and lived their life, and the people in the world are just the visual or virtual avatars that they had of them.
see, that's another theory that I saw going around.
I honestly
Because
think that's what's supposed to happen, because they can see this real life version of themselves, but they're still in the circus.
so the issue that I have with the Instagrams, it's never specified by Kane or the people in the digital circus. So to pivot back, because we're jumping around. So when Kane returns, Kane comes back and he's like, guys, I am so sorry. I fucked up. And I just basically performed self-lobotomy. So I'm going to be on my best behavior. And I will give you guys control of this place so that we can all hang out and be cool. And I'm going to give you a gift. So the gift is that he basically, because he was in the source code, was able to go into, essentially, I'm assuming, the internet. And then he was able to find everything about the cast, which is such an amazing idea. I'm like, all right, cool. I like where this is going. I do not like where it went.
Well, he was kicked out of it.
No. I get that. I'm saying I don't like what they did with revealing who these people were. That's what I don't like. Because for me, I love the idea of Kane going into the internet, because that brings up so many cool ideas that you could have done with a possible season 2. And I'm going to get to season 2 and season 3 bullshit, because this episode really rushes shit. So when Kane comes back, this is where the pacing issue also came up for me again. The pacing issue came up for me again because Kane, in the finale, when he shows up, the build up to Kane's return, really well paced. The minute he comes back, horribly paced.
But these VR headsets, right? Because I had this question, I was looking at the lore. Why the fuck were they advertised as, why are they brain scanners? Because usually VR headsets are just VR headsets, but I'm reading this and these are like brain scanners?
That's what it's implied in the finale, I believe.
What the fuck?
Or it's in the first and the finale, but the way that in the first episode it's described is different than the finale handles it. And I'm gonna get to that because that's actually a very important thing I'm about to talk about, because that pissed me off too.
Was this a worldwide release then?
I don't know. I don't know. They don't specify. I don't know.
It's left open-ended.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they have so many questions they didn't answer. I don't know. And the thing is, with that headset, that is a perfect thing you brought up, because the Instagrams. So they have Kane come back, right? Kane's like, hey, I'm so sorry, guys. Here's your real lives. Here's your Instagrams, right?
Yeah.
And your social medias and your platforms and anything you're associated with, your art pages, your shit, your YouTubes. So he shows each character who they are in real life. Now, some of the characters are like kind of puzzled about it, because if you don't know, at the start of the show, they can't remember anything about their real selves. They're put into the game and they don't remember anything about themselves. So they're trying to escape. The whole show is about them trying to escape to get to their real lives. They don't even know who they are. They don't even know their real name. So when they come to the circus, they have to get new names. So what ends up happening is that Kane shows them their real lives. And when he shows them their real lives, the one that's made out of string says, Gangle, she's like, she or he or they, whatever, I don't remember. They're like, hey, I don't even know if that's me. Is that you, Zubul? And Zubal's like, I don't know, it could be. So there's like some contention between the group, but they also can somewhat see how this could be though. Now, when Pomni sees her life is essentially, she's a YouTuber who goes into like abandoned buildings and shit. And like not many people watch it. So, you know, she goes and, you know, she does her own thing. And it's kind of cool. Pomni in this moment, when Kane asks for her hand to help make the circus better, he basically is like, essentially join me. And what I thought was going to happen was that Pomni was going to say, I'm going to do my own thing. Because that's what Pomni has been since the beginning. She has been a very rebellious character that, while is super sweet and caring, she will do what she believes is right. And so she's like the moral compass of the group. If she doesn't believe something's right, she will walk away and she will say no. So it kind of shocked me when Kane says, essentially, join me, essentially. And she says yes. Because what she says is that the person I was in the real life is a different person than who I am now. The person who's in real life is living their best life now. And all I can do is be Pomni in here. But the problem with that is that while that is a really cool idea to drop in the last 10 minutes of the fucking episode, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. What the fuck is the point of the headsets? Why the fuck is there an exit if these are AI? If these are AI people and not real people, what the fuck is the point of the whole show? Why the fuck were they trying to escape in the first place if they're just digital copies? It doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me there's been no stakes the entire episode? Every episode, there's never been any stakes. Every single time you've watched this, it's just AI. They'll just die because you don't have to worry about it. The real life counterpart, if they wanted to, who knows, they could probably put the headset on again and make another Pomni. They're not saying no to that. Pomni could die, abstract, and what's stopping the real Abigail from saying, damn, let me delete my previous save and then just make a new version? She might not look and act like Pomni, but she might sound like it. She might have her same brainwaves. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make a lick of sense. So Pomni gives up. She says, I don't need to escape anymore. The whole point of the show gets negated like that because they looked at Instagram. The whole show is pointless. Who the fuck cares? So I would be fine with the show being hey, we're just in a quirky digital world and we're just doing our own thing. That's what it felt like at first. But when you introduce like a grand scheme of we need to escape, we need to stop Kane at all costs, and it's all for nothing, what's the point? I would have been fine with a Jimmy Neutron, Timmy Turner, SpongeBob-like kind of show where each episode is its own contained story and you might have sprinkles of things that carry on from episode to episode. Fine, whatever. But like, when you're trying to say this is a mini-series that's going to have its own contained plot and the ending is this messy, what the fuck is the point? And then, again, about the ending, I don't think they had to end it. No. And I'm not saying this because, I'm a fan of the show and I want it to go on forever. No. I think some shows need to end. Breaking Bad needed to end because otherwise you get Game of Thrones. So I think there's a point when you need to end it, but I also think there's a point when you need to keep a story going. And this was a clear indicator that there was plenty of episodes to still do. They just probably either wanted to end it here for their own reasons or they ran out of just steam. Because in the last 10 minutes, they have the full power of the circus.
Yeah.
There is so much potential with storytelling you could do now that all these characters have the power to not be endlessly tortured. We get to see what these characters are being together. We can see them grow together. We don't have to see them constantly depressed like season 1. We can see them grow together now that they have control. Because that's the main reason why all of them were depressed. We don't have control. Now they do. How do they act with control? How do they go about their lives with control? How do they uplift each other with control? We're never going to know. Because what they do instead of having a season 2 and season 3 is they rapid shot all the possible ideas that they possibly could have done with a season 2 and season 3. They rapid shot all of them in a montage. They just montage all the possibilities for season 2s and 3s and just get it out of the way. And I think that's another reason why the pacing issue at the end was very weird, because the beginning, slow burn. Slow, it's not even a slow burn, it's just slow. And then the middle portion, perfect. The ending, rapid fire. Everything was just thrown at the wall to see if everything could stick. And like, the other issue is like, we don't get to see Kinger's interpretation of how he feels about Kane right now. Now that Kane is being good, we don't get to see Kinger and Kane talk. We don't get to see their camaraderie and see how they are now that Kane is trying to be a good guy. He only talks to Pomni and Zubul. That's it. But we get to speed blitz through all possible development of 2 seasons in the matter of 2-3 minutes instead of just getting a fucking conversation. Because that's what the whole episode was conversations. But now out of nowhere, we're going to speed blitz like a whole minute or 2 of montages so that you can believe that Kane is a good guy now. And that's another thing. You could have fleshed out Kane's development of being a good guy over a fucking season. But we don't. And so it's implied that the characters in the digital circus are now just brain scans. They're basically like, if I put on a headset, I scanned my brain, and that's it. Into, I don't know, fucking Minecraft. I just blitzed my brain into Minecraft, and that's it. But now, I basically cloned myself. That has not been a concept discussed at all in any of the first 8 episodes. Cloning, essentially. Cloning my brain patterns into it. It's a brainwave scanner, but it kind of just gave off the impression it was like SAO, like Sword Art Online. Yeah. I scanned myself into the Matrix, and I'm in the Matrix. I die in here, I die out there. Which is why there was so much emphasis on a character abstracting, because it's like, oh my god, they just died in real life. Oh my god, this is a big deal. We can't escape if you die, you know? So now abstractions don't mean anything. Death doesn't mean anything. The real life world that we were trying to escape to, it doesn't mean shit, because they were fine the entire time. They didn't even know what was going on. They didn't know this whole war between the characters and Kane was going on. They were out living their life getting coffee. Then what was the point? What mattered? Who cares? Like, what does it matter? The whole show's pointless because of that. And then, I know maybe you didn't catch this part, because I know you were new to video games recently. Do you know Pomni's last scene in the show, where she looks back at the camera? That's a Mario 64 reference.
I knew it was some type of...
Yep, it was a reference. It's a Mario 64 reference. And when I scrolled down to the comment section, and I saw Pomni just accepting her life in the digital circus, and saying she accepts this, and she looks back at the camera, and like kind of does the Mario 64 thing and walks away. A lot of people in the comments were like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so beautiful. Bitch, what's beautiful? The weeds? Like, do you go outside and say the weeds are beautiful? Like, are you stupid? Because I sat here watching a character go through the ringer for 8 fucking episodes, struggles, and all this shit, and she finally figures out, hey, I don't need to struggle anymore. I just need to snuggle. And you know what? That's cool. Bet. So you're going to save everyone's life, right? So you're going to save everybody's life, right? So all the people that were depressed and dying in the basement, you're going to give them a hug too, right? Okay, well you're going to at least escape, right? That's what you've been building up for 8 episodes, right? We're going to know what the office means, right? We're going to know what the fucking office means. What office? What office? What office are you guys talking about? I don't know an office. Boy, I saw more of The Office in the episode prior to this. What is the point of The Office? Does everyone... here's another question. Is The Office consistent between characters? Because the only one that I remember going through The Office... I might be wrong, but I'm annoyed with this finale, so maybe I'm wrong. Pomni's the only one that went into The Office, right?
The only one who knew about the door that led to the office beforehand was the clown.
The what?
The clown. The one that abstracted at the beginning of the series.
Oh.
I forgot his name.
He knew about the door?
Cosmo.
Cosmo. Cosmo or Cosmo? Cosmo or Cosmo?
I think it's Cosmo.
Okay.
But with him, his room, if you analyze it, you'll see that there's an exit door that Kane has been like, you know how Kane manipulated them and would make them see things? Kane kept making him see this exit door, and he got obsessed thinking that, you know, there was an exit. And that's what he was trying to inform Jax of in Jax's, like, down memory lane of going through his life, where Kaufman was like, hey, I might have found an exit. Will you go with me?
Oh, okay.
So Kaufman...
So then that just makes it worse.
Yeah, so Kaufman was the other person that knew of the door, but because Kane was fucking with him, he went crazy and abstracted.
Okay. Okay, well that one makes a little more sense. But no, what I was referencing was more so like, man, my fucking thing came off my glasses. The little sticky thing. Yeah, it's too much. Is it? Oh, the summer, yeah. I thought you said it's the sunburn. I was like, what?
It's the summer.
The sticky part came off. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Cosmo was another one that saw, yeah, you were right. He did say that in the finale. He found something, a way out. Okay, so, but that's another thing. I would have loved to see Cosmo's interpretation of the door, because we only saw the frame. We didn't see the inside, did we?
No. The only
So-
one that went into the office space was Pomni.
So I would have loved to possibly have seen then other characters' interpretations. Maybe it would have been different. Maybe it would have looked different. Maybe it would have just been an office. But now I'm like, what's the point of the office? Was the office just pointless?
They did see the office because Kanger showed them the Polaroid photos he had of the office. And he showed them saying, this is the only recollection I have of what happened before the circus. This is what I am trying to get to. So he has shown them Polaroid photos of the office, so to speak, but no one else has been in it besides Pomni and him.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, the finale, sorry, I lost my train of thought. No, you're good. We were talking about Kane. We got wildly off track.
No, we were mostly talking about Pomni. No, you're in the third act, so you had Pomni and Jax.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Kane. I just can't remember what about Kane I was referencing. Anyway, I'll talk to something else. I can't remember what I was going to originally say. But with Kane, how did you feel about him turning good?
I mean, I felt like they gave him the time, essentially, because he was in, like, you know, a timeless space for a while, and he was just kind of mingling over his thoughts, like he said. He, I think after researching and everything, came to the understanding of what he had done to them, and was like, oh shit, I did something terrible. So I can understand him being how he was, but them accepting it so fast is, I can see either it going both ways, them not, you know, them holding a grudge and being like, we need more time to accept you, and then also doing what they did. But
my thing is, it felt very out of character for all of them, including Kinger, to just kind of go along with Kane after that. I feel like even if Kane would have offered the power, I feel like they were just too scared to be around him. But they're playing games with him afterwards, and they killed this fucker. They killed him.
Yeah, and then also they just kind of left it open-ended on what happened to Bubble, which is, I'm assuming, the blue dot that he released into the void.
Well, okay, so talking about that ending, how did you feel about Pomni on her own, because none of the other characters came to this conclusion fully, anyways, that they showed. How do you feel about Pomni making the decision to side with Kane and say, I'm not gonna fight anymore to go outside? Because that to me kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It kind of felt wildly out of character.
Well, she was always the one that was trying to keep them all together. And sometimes that meant going off on Kane, but other times that meant making sure Kane, you know, was wound in, so that way he wouldn't go off the deep end and hurt them more.
Yeah.
So, with her having control now, I can see her agreeing to be with Kane, because she has had some control over him, or she has influence over him.
No. He still has power.
I know he has power, but he doesn't have as much power as he used to. What I'm saying is influence not as an influence of power, influence of how she's talked with him.
Okay.
So he, like you said, was one of the only two that she spoke to. He didn't even speak to Kinnear. So he's more likely to listen to her than he would any of the others.
Okay.
If you get what I'm saying.
So you're feeling that because Pomni was okay with it, that everyone kind of fell in line?
Yeah.
Then I think that's even worse.
She is usually the deciding factor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she is their moral compass, and I think that's worse because Kinger has a family. Kinger has a family. Zubul had like a bar. Gangle sure may have not been like the happiest, but they had like, you know, they had art. They were drawing art. Like, all of them have mentioned multiple times. The main thing they want is to escape.
It doesn't make sense with how they did that. Okay, I will agree with you with that. Because they do kind of do a 180 where like they Kane dies and the world kind of just falls apart and then they no longer want to escape. It's like, oh no, we've met the end kind of feeling. But when Kane comes back and he shows them, hey, you know, this is who you are in real life, and they say, oh, well, I don't know if that's me, and then they just decide, okay, I'm going to stay here, that doesn't really fit with any of their characters.
The problem with it also is, yeah, of course, it's not going to make sense that you're that character in real life because you got amnesia when you first came in here. None of you remember. You all had to get new names. So the fact that they're looking at this and they're like, that's not us anymore, then what was the point? What was the point of escaping? What was the point of ever trying to escape? What was the point of even killing Kane? Like, I get it, it was more of a, man, that person, you know, they look like a stranger. I get what they were trying to say was like, oh, that person looks like a stranger. I mean, after all my experiences, I feel like I'm a lot more adventurous or cool than them or something like that. Yeah, that's fine, maybe, whatever, but like, it was too rushed. Like, they come to that conclusion in like half a minute. We spent 8 episodes for half a minute to undo it. And then, oh my god. So the montage. How do you feel about the montage?
Remind me what that was.
All of them having control of the worlds and going from world to world with Kane and enjoying the worlds together. Close.
I think that was a bit rushed.
Yeah.
Because I understand how Pomni would feel more buddy-buddy with him, but the rest of them would still be terrified of Kane.
Yeah.
Even if Pomni was like, yeah, okay, we're good now, they would still have some, you know, just PTSD from it because of the shit that he just had them go through. Because that was like, what, last episode? All that shit happened to him?
Yeah.
It would take a lot, and I know they have like eons going by with the, or not eons, or like time flowing with the stars in the sky. You know, like how they did.
Passage of time.
Yeah. But even then, it would have been nice to see it happen instead of it just being, okay, well, time's passed, they're here now, this is where they are. Now you can see it.
It felt really weird because, honestly, I'll tell you this, for me personally, I felt completely, watching this episode, it was a finale.
It was.
Until Kane. When Kane showed up, it no longer felt like a finale.
It felt like, okay.
It felt like a season finale.
Yeah. It felt like, okay, well, we have his power now. Kane's here too. What can we do now?
Yeah, and it's never been about obtaining power, obtaining control of the digital circus. It's always been an escape mission. So for the motive to change like this, right here at the very end, it comes off like, oh, this won't be the final time you see these characters. It feels like a Smiling Friends kind of thing, where you can do this for 2 or 3 seasons and end it perfectly there. And they even showcase examples of that through the montage of showing them going through the different worlds and having fun together. I would have loved to have seen their growth throughout season 2, and then season 3, maybe you start introducing the fact that there's new characters, and you show that season 2, they perfect the digital circus, and season 3, they open up the digital circus to more people to come in, and you can freely go in and out, and it becomes more friendly, and you can end it there. That would give all the characters control of the circus, and you can have that story lasts for 2 to 3 seasons. Season one is depression. Season 2 is, you know, improving yourself with friends and spending time with each other. And then season 3 is making paradise, which is what Cain always wanted. And remember, he said that the reason why he loved them, he loved all the people, was because of their free will. They were able to do as they want. Here's the problem. Cain says that they have free will, which means they should not be considered as AI body scans. They should be considered the real people. So Pomni later saying that there's AI scans and that's it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, another thing that confused me.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, you're good. I'm sorry. I don't remember what I was saying.
What confused me was there was a part where he was first coming back,
Yeah.
and he was doing his shakes to get to the door, and he opened the brain scan room or whatever it was, and like picked up one of them.
Yeah.
We saw for like a split second Scratch dropping into the digital circus. My confusion is that like a memory of him seeing Scratch come into the circus, or is that Scratch reappearing into the circus and we just never see him again?
My guess is memory, because I feel like the other characters would have seen Scratch.
Yeah, because it's just like a once and done thing where they just kind of show him for a split second and never really do anything with it. So it just confused me.
I definitely think season 1 should have been all about depression, season 2 improving, and season 3 making the digital circus something you can go to and from, and then you end it there. That's it. And I feel like going to all these worlds and doing this montage, it really felt like potential. It really felt like, hey, this could be a season's worth of content. It really felt like that, watching that montage. And I honestly would have loved to see the slow build-up of friendship, because you know Zubul, for starters, would have given Cain hell while he was trying to become good again. Every time he slips up, she would have given him more hell, or they would have given him more hell, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. It would have been so cool to see. And then you could end season 2 off with the big finale, the revival of Jax. Revive Jax through the power of love and care, whatever, and then show him what the digital circus has become. And then through Jax, in season 3, you can start it off by showing Ribbit, Cosmog, and Scratch all returning as well. There you go. But if you want to leave the characters dead, that's fine. I don't have an issue with a character dying. You know, I've had plenty of shows that were amazing. The characters stay dead. But my problem is that Jax isn't dead. When you eventually get to the bus station, Jax is very much alive, but now in the final episode, he's a different person than he ever was in the digital space, so it doesn't even matter. His digital space is dead, but what does that even mean? Like, cool, he died in digital space. Cool, I die in digital space every day when I play Fortnite. I die in digital space every day when I play Minecraft. Like, what does that mean? What does that matter? Like, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so, like, that bus scene, it ruins the whole ending. And it really tries to come off like this is a finale, because they're showing the real life people. It comes off like we're never going to see this people again. Pomni does the wave. All these people get on a bus. Okay. Why do I care? Those are the people that I apparently know and love from the show. You just told me they're different people. So, to me, yeah, cool. They might be people I know, but they might not also be. And that's what happens when you make it so open-ended. If you would have left it and said, these are the real people and they escaped, cool, man. I would have been like, oh, man, Gooseworks, you did it again. You got me crying again. You got me with this beautiful ending. But now I'm sitting here, I'm like, that's fucking stupid. It doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense. What's the point? Like, I don't know you. Who are you people? That's how I'm hitting it, bro. I don't know. They ain't my people. They ain't the digital circus. They're like, who are you? It's dumb. Like that ending. Like I think the issue with the ending, pacing and writing. I think they did not know what to do outside of Jax. I think they knew perfectly what to do with Jax. Jax should have been his own episode. I think Jax's shit should have been his own episode. And I think that they should have definitely taken more time with the beginning and the ending, because those two portions are horribly paced. Beginning is slow as hell and it's not worth it. And the ending is fast as hell and ruins great big parts of the show. and ruins legit parts of the lore. This is not me being a nitpicker. This is not me trying to send death threats to Gooseworks. This is not me trying to say Gooseworks should off themselves, because a lot of people are out of their minds. This is me saying, as a fan of the show, and someone who loves the show, and someone who has bought in merchandise, who has been gifted merchandise, like I got the Gummy Goo plush, that shit is so cute. I've purchased their skins in Fortnite. Like, I love these characters. I love this show. I love watching it with you. So for me to invest so much time into something, and for it to have, in my personal opinion, a very messy conclusion, and there is no hopes for a season 2 or 3 yet, it's disappointing.
Very much so. What? Fan-base got toxic, Gooseworks and Portugal.
I really do feel like this is a situation like that, where the author of like Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, he's like, oh, clearly this is like a really popular thing, but the fan base was like too toxic in one way or another, and he's like, all right, I'm done, dead, we killed Gojo, he's dead, we're done, he's dead, fuck, don't ask me any more questions about Gojo. It feels like, you know, she, he, they, whatever, whoever's the author of this show, kind of was like, man, this fan base is it's a bit much. Y'all remind me of the amazing the Smiling Friends. My bad, I got the shows mixed up. I'm so annoyed. The Smiling Friends fan base. You guys are acting like that. I don't want to play with y'all anymore.
Yeah, that sounds right. She
'Cause-
does great, for the most part, great storytelling. I think if the fan base wasn't hounding her and being as toxic as they were, the story probably would have come out better. Because she would have had more time, she would have felt more comfortable, you know, showing her story instead of trying to rush it for the fucking toxic pieces of shit that were telling her all this shit about her characters.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Gooseworks looks at the monumentous success of Digital Circus, because you could see they had a huge budget increase for the finale.
Oh yeah.
My personal headcanon, I haven't seen any confirmation for it, this is just my personal headcanon theory, is that because of the Netflix deal that they got, where they were able to air their episodes on Netflix, I think Netflix gave them a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a check to kind of just make the finale look a little better. I hope Netflix comes to them again, if they did it, with another check for a possible season 2 and season 3, because this really, minus the bus scene and the wave goodbye
Yeah.
from Pomni, if you take out those two parts, really the Kane stuff is what made me feel like this was a season finale, not a series. Like everything up until Kane arrived, when Kane arrived, it felt like we had so many more possibilities for stories, so many more episodes we could do. And this isn't me trying to stretch it out forever. No, it felt like that's what they had, and they knew it, and instead of giving it to us, and that's it. So it was just greatly disappointing, really let me down. Like, I have rewatched every single episode of the Amazing Digital Circus, and I've never personally had the feeling or want to skip across any parts of an episode, even if I've already seen the episode. This episode, I am skipping the whole beginning, because the whole beginning is genuinely too slow, way too slow. I'm going to skip all the way to Jax, watch that, and then after that, I don't know. Because honestly, the Kane stuff left me wanting more. Whereas the Jack stuff was trying its best to give me a finale, minus the situation with his mom, which still pisses me off that we don't know what happened to his mom. And I get it, him at the bus stop is supposed to imply that his mom might not be dead, but the motherfucker is homeless. He was supposed to be on the run. So, is he still homeless or not? We don't know. They didn't tell us. I don't know if the fucker's homeless or not. Are you eating garbage or are you eating sandwiches? I don't know. So, it's kind of ass. So, if he's still homeless, he can still be on the run. So, I don't know. Did you murder your mommy or not? Let me know. I don't know. So, no answers on Jax. Kind of made me upset. No answers on if they can truly fix abstraction, because Pomni's the first one to ever attempt, and Pomni had what I felt like was really decent success. So they left that open-ended, which felt really weird. to just kill off one of your main characters and not really go to its fullest extent of whether or not you can resurrect them or not by literally introducing it with Pomni. And then Kane coming in and speed blitzing his character development felt very rushed. And then Kane having this montage of hangouts that could have easily been a season 2 felt very weird, felt very much like a waste of potential. The Pomni saying goodbye thing was not beautiful. It felt very out of character for her to even want to stay in the digital circus, regardless of what her real life person was. She's been wanting to escape since the first second of the show. And you're telling me she's just going to quit because she saw her Instagram page? Kiss my hairy ass. Out of here. Bullshit. Horseradish. Fucking bull. No, hell no. Trash. Then, on top of all of that, right? Then we get to the very end, and it's like, isn't it beautiful they all got on the bus? No, it's not. I don't know them. You just told me they're different people. I don't know them. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. Like, I'm looking at these people, I'm like, oh, I may have seen your Instagram post once, I guess. Like, I guess that's all I can say. I saw your YouTube video. You broke into a school. It was abandoned, but still, like. It's just poof. Everything's open-ended. And here's the issue. A lot of people think that if something is left open-ended and left to the audience's interpretation that it's beautiful. No. Unless you're fucking a Tarantino or like a Christopher Nolan, don't attempt to leave your ending open-ended because you don't know how to write it. Open-ended is supposed to leave it in a way where it can be one or two possibilities. That is what you're supposed to be. One or two, maybe even three. But usually it's supposed to be road 1 or road 2. You know, the red pill or the blue pill. You know, that kind of thing. They didn't do that. They just had plot holes out the ass. Plot holes that I could have seen gaping from fucking 5 feet away, and I don't have my glasses on right now, and I can still see them. Plot holes out the ass, inconsistent writing for the characters outside of Pomni and Jax, minus the, ending with Pomni. And inconsistent writing, barely any development for Kinger, waste of potential with Kinger, waste of potential with the season, waste of potential with Kane. Like, the whole finale is genuinely a mess. I think you needed to write a bit more, Gooseworks. I think you just needed maybe 1 or 2 revisions more. Can we get the script workshopped, please? Because you did better before. 8 episodes and then you shit the bed at 9. I don't know, man.
I agree. I think the Jax stuff could have been its own episode. Maybe put it like episode 8, have episode 8, episode 9, and then I don't know, I guess Smash part 1 and 3 at the episode count.
I would have loved a 3-part finale. You're right, I would have loved a 3-part finale. I feel like it would have been paced better. But then again, if they would have just split into thirds, and I would have had to deal with that first third for a whole episode, I probably would have quit the show. Because that first third of the finale is the worst part of the entire show for me.
Very slow.
Oh my god. And it's not that they can't have emotional moments. I'm okay with it.
The emotional moment too long.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you're walking in slow motion and you're longing at each other in slow motion and it's like every fucking 5 seconds I'm getting a new instrumental, I'm like, bro, please,
And
just...
a new angle.
And a new, like, dude, I just... Good parts, but the good parts are just with Jax, and you killed him. Everything else is either trash at the start, or very much lost potential at the end. And I don't know, I just feel like I wasted my time with the show. And it sucks. I feel like I wasted my time, because you're telling me now, at the very end, we've never even hinted at this, that the digital characters are separate from the real life? What's the point of the show? What is the point of the show? There's no point. Now if I go and rewatch the show, the ending ruined it. I have to think, all of their escape is for nothing, because they'll conform in the end. They know there's no point in escaping, because they're not real. So we went from Matrix to legitimate, it's just fantasy AI. Yeah, perfect. Why the fuck does AI have free will? You're telling me Kane, this god-level unit who can literally resurrect himself from the dead, right, in the context of the show, He could do that, but he doesn't have free autonomy? What? But they do? Because they're brain scans? What? That doesn't make any sense. What? That is a... Thank you. I didn't even think about that. Another plot hole. What the fuck is that? Needless to say, I will still rock the Pomni skin in Fortnite. Motherfucker can hit the gritty. For you, how would you rate the finale? Because for me, I think if I rated the whole thing, I rate it like a 4 or a 3. Because the reason why I'd give it that is because I really only like the Jack stuff.
For me, I think the series is like 1 to 8, episode 1 to 8, solid 7 to 8. Those are good
Okay.
episodes. Finale is definitely below 5.
Okay. Yeah, because if... Okay, how about this? What if we broke up the sections of the finale? Part 1. Let's say the slow stuff until she hugs Jax. You'd say 2 or 3? I'd give that a 0 or a 1. Like, I really hated that slow start. Like, that was really bad. It was bad. It was really horribly paced. I think you can do somber shit like that and more depth, even in a grayscale area. But when everything's gray and you're doing it this slow and there's nothing to really cue your attention except these bright, colorful characters, it gets really boring really quick. So I would rate the first third solid 1 or 0, honestly. I think the animation was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
That's why you definitely get a point for it.
Animation is definitely gone up.
Oh yeah, animation was god tier, gorgeous, but 1 for the first third. How do you feel about Jax? Jax's portion. 6, 7, okay. I think for me, I would personally rate it higher. That's just for me personally, because I think that it really resonated with me, some of the things he was saying, because I felt some of the things that he had felt. And I think because of that, it bumped it up for me a bit more, because for me, I was like, oh, I relate to him a lot when the stuff that he was saying. Not everything, I will admit, not everything, but some of the stuff he said, especially how he felt about himself, I was like, I can relate to that. I think for me, he was easily the most enjoyable part, which is why it made me so upset that we never found out what happened to his mom. And so, for Jax and his portion, I would say because of the mom thing, it did take me down some bit, but I'd still rate it like a 9. If it wasn't for the mom being open-ended, because literally everything about Jax is basically a closed book, for the most part. We got most of the answers we needed, I felt like, except for the mom. So because of that, it knocked it down a point for me, because it's still something that bothers me even a day after watching it. So I'd leave it at 9. Now, Kane. From Return to, what do you think? Her wave or the bus? Which one do you feel is better? Because I still feel like the bus is part of the episode, even though it's an end credits. Yeah. So, do you think we should include bus or no?
I think the bus honestly has nothing to do with the story.
So leave the bus scene out? Okay. So from Kane to Pomni's goodbye. How do you feel about that? So you said, just to clarify, start was 2, and Jax's portion was like 6 or 7, and then for me, start was 1, Jax's portion was 9. How do you feel about the Kane?
I want more understanding of what was supposed to happen, because they made a lot of parallels with Kane coming to the end of the void and seeing the door, and then him being the red circle, seeing the cage that he broke out of. And then as he's going to try and get to the door, he's going to try and get to the cage. And then when he gets there, he tries to be conformative because that's what he was told to be, and that's what his AI was told to be. He wasn't supposed to be spreading out all these shapes like he was when he was a red dot. So he tries to build his conformative stairwell, but it falls. So instead he goes back to his original ways, which is his shapes, which you see is what he uses to build his staircase. And then he goes to what he sees is, or what's plastered as the exit door in his red world, and then becomes the brain scan room when he looks at it as Kane. So there's that, and then there's the fact that he let the blue out, and it felt like when the blue was in him, it was his red side and the blue side fighting each other. Because the red side was angry, the blue side was understanding of what he did to them and why they're reacting that way. And then when he let
I
go of
think
his
it's
blue
the
side.
opposite though, because when he lets go of the blue, he's calmer.
No, because if you look at when he's talking to himself,
Okay.
you can see that the red side is more agitated in its movements, whereas the blue side is more calm.
Yeah, but he pulled out the blue.
Yeah, which is what I was a little confused about, because if he pulled out the blue, why is he still calm? He
Oh.
just let the blue go, and the blue is just in the board now. It's off. It's not even on the internet, because the internet was connected to the brain scan room. That's how he was able to, look up their Instagrams and shit and research them. That's where the Wi-Fi signal slowly deteriorated, and then once the signal was gone, bam, the door closed and he no longer can access it. But before that, he gets rid of the blue side. We don't know if the blue side is Bubble. I'm assuming it's Bubble, but they never explained who the blue was. They never explained the room that Kane broke out of when he was the red dot. I'm assuming it's something to do with the exit, but I'm not sure. But when he lets go of the blue, he's supposed to be just the red dot now. So why is he this calm? Why is he not angry? Why is he not flipping out like he was when they were, shitting on him the episode prior? And now when he just had his two sides fighting, saying, well, this is what they did to us, this is what we did to them, and then he lets that side go and he's still calm. It doesn't really make sense. Because they don't show that he has that conflicting side in him anymore since he let go of the blue. So it just kind of left a lot more open questions for me as to what happened to Kane, why is he still there, what happened to him now that he let go of the blue, who the fuck was the blue, why was...
I think I may have gone down extra point.
What?
I think my score is going down in points the more you're talking about. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at him like, fuck, you're right.
They just left a lot of open shit before he came back to them in the circus. That's where he ended up, but it doesn't explain what happened to the blue, what happened to Scratch, because that's where Scratch showed up in that split second where he pulled one of the names from the brain scan room. It shows Scratch dropping in, and then it immediately goes to him researching them on the internet.
What's crazy is these last two episodes really felt like they were really trying to say fuck the fan theories, because I don't know if you remember, but there was a lot of people who believed in Cain being a more biblical reference, because there's a lot of imagery you could, Cain and Abel. You can kind of see a decent imagery with it in previous episodes, so people were assuming that's what they were going for. But then in episode 8, it kind of felt like a fuck you to the fan base that was thinking of that by saying, oh, we found Abel, and the whole episode's about Abel, and it was for naught. It was a waste of time. It was not Abel, it was instead an AI that Cain had sent on loose. Which, don't get me wrong, it was a cool twist at the time, but now having seen Cain come back, it just kind of poses more questions.
Yeah. Because there's still shit with what happened with Kinger and the 3 entities on the computer. We still don't know who that third entity is, or if they have any influence.
You know what
on
else
the
we
rest of
don't
the
know?
circuit.
Where the fuck are these brain scanners? Are they in an office? Or are they all, they show an office a lot? Are they did they all decide to go to a 9 to 5 cubicle office and put on headsets?
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, none of them have big followings, so it would make sense. Maybe some government agencies trying to test out shit, so they put them in there. But Kinger's oh, I made an AI. And that's really the most that we really get from it, is Kinger is involved with the creation of it. But
the rest of them weren't.
yeah, the rest of them weren't. So the rest of them weren't, and we don't know how they were involved. And the other thing is, the one that makes it so hard to figure it out, because my headcanon theory is it probably is a government thing, because of instead of a actual playing your own thing, which again, it makes me wonder how the fuck did they get all these people to play a game, and then they, may or may not remember that this is not a game,
Yeah.
is Jax, because Jax was homeless. So how the fuck is a homeless person affording a headset, especially a VR type headset? Because that makes me wonder, did he break in? Did he steal it? Why? Because you would need to steal, I'm assuming, a TV. Or if this is a brain scanner thing that just does it on its own, and it's its own like sci-fi shit, that's
You need to
fine.
have some way to power it.
Yeah, that you still need some way to power it. It's not gonna just do it off of solar. And if it is, you have to establish that. You didn't. What is this, working off of sci-fi shit? Like, but when we go to the real world, it's just a regular world. And the other issue is, here's my problem. If it is a government thing, why the fuck are all of them able to ride on the bus together and leave?
Yeah, that's just
Like, is that the entire intention? Like, is this agency doing that? But that's the thing. It might not even be an agency. It might be just that they were playing games at home. But if they're playing games at home, is there other digital circuses? Are they the only people in the entire world to have ever found a headset that traps you in a video game? And we only have the original group and like 3 more. So you have like 3 or 4 more. So you have like what, 10 people ever in the whole world have done it? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Where did they come from? Where did these headsets come from? You should expect the circus to be crowded. Now I'm sure like if some people go disappearing in the fucking headset, sure, whatever. But this shit should be crowded. There shouldn't be 10 people. But if they're AI, especially if they're AI scans, if they're AI head scans, there should be hundreds of you in here. If it's real people, I can understand, be like, oh, in the real life, maybe they were found and people destroyed the headsets, but they're in the hospital. But no, they're separate. So why aren't there hundreds in the digital circus? You're telling me only 10 people in the whole world bought a headset? Then that poses more questions. How'd you afford it? Where'd you get it? Who gave it to you?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much VR headsets are now currently?
Oh, they're like 200-300, right?
Some cheaper ends, yeah. I would say if you're looking for a good one, probably it's gonna range around like 900 to over $1,000. So it's not like the cheapest thing. It's not like anything that anyone can afford. But the problem is, you look at these people. You have a girl, Abigail, who goes and looks at like schools abandoned and shit. She's probably not gonna be able to afford a $1,000 VR headset. You have Zubel, who's bartending. Maybe you could, maybe. So that's one. Gangle sells art, but like they didn't look like they did many pieces of art, so I don't know. Jax was homeless. Ragatha, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot what Ragatha
She
did.
became a horse champion or something. You know,
Oh,
like,
Ragatha probably could afford it. Ragatha's probably the only one that can. Ragatha and maybe Zubel. So like, let's say it's just bare minimum, $1,000. Yeah, I'm sure you can afford it if you save up, but how's the homeless dude doing it? So many questions.
He's been there longer than Ragatha.
Fuck, you're right. He was one of the originals.
No, not the original team.
No, he wasn't the original. But I'm talking like he was one of the like first, like before like Pomni came and we have like the crew we have now. Like he
Yeah.
was there with Ribbit and Cosmo and
Yeah.
all that. He was
there
with
before
them.
Ragatha.
You're right. So he's been in there way longer. How the fuck did a homeless person beat all of you to the circus? That right there. Maybe it is
Well,
not
I
military.
know-
I don't know.
I don't know time frames exactly, but I know that there was a panel somewhere in one of the episodes that showed when a couple of them were
So,
brought into the circus.
If you remember Jax's backstory yesterday, they do show Gangle spawning in. I
Yeah.
don't know if they show, because he names Gangle, and I believe Zubel might have been too, but I don't, or maybe I'm getting her confused or them confused with Ragatha. I don't know, but I thought I had seen the backstory display. Jax seeing the arrival of 2 of the crew showing up.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get at is that Ragatha, with that image that they showed, she joined the circus in 2008. So Jax would have joined prior to that, at some point.
Wait, what do you mean 2008?
Like there is some image in one of the episodes on one of the screens where someone was doing some research. I don't remember the episode or where it was exactly, but someone found out that it shows some of the characters joining the circus, like the year they joined the circus, and Ragatha's was 2008. I know it showed like a couple others. I want to say like Gangle.
Is
was
the
out
show in
there.
modern day though, or is this supposed to be like it takes place in its own time frame? Because that's something I'm curious about too. I don't know. Because like if Ragatha's there since 2008, the only issue is they really like to give details for other shit rather than like timeline. Like I don't know what year it is when Pomni shows up. Maybe they do say it. Let me see. Maybe they do say it. But before we get off track again, Kane, his portion. How did you feel about that?
I mean, it left me with a lot more questions than answers. So it wasn't my favorite part. And how he kind of just was accepted back into the group, even though there showed that it had been a long time frame. It would have been nice to actually see that happen and him interact with them more, instead of it just being in the background.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't put it above a 4.
I think that's what I could probably agree with. So Ragatha is 2008, and for some reason Google AI keeps trying to say 2015. So let's see, Ragatha is 2008. Let's see, Pomni. They're saying 2023, but I'm assuming that's just when the show started. So Pomni. I don't think anyone knows.
I don't know if they would really have a concept of time in the show though, because in episode
No, I just wanted to know the year. Go ahead. You're good.
in episode 8, where they were in the cafeteria and Pomni gets snatched by Kane, he's taking her to the introduction of the whole trailer. That's why she shows up with those knives back in her when she appears back in episode 8 of the cafeteria. Is because he dragged her to the introduction of the show and then dropped her back. So I don't really know if there is a concept yet.
So allegedly, there is an order of timeline of the characters summoning into the world.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is factual, but this is apparently on Reddit saying this is the official order according to Goose. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't know. So it goes Kinger, then Ragatha, then Jax, Gangle, Zubul, then Pomni, and then Cosmo and Ribbit are the only two that basically people just can't find a time that makes sense. But everyone seems to be of the consensus that Kinger and Ragatha are some of the first two.
That would make sense, because there were 2 sets. Kinger was part of the original set where Scratch was there. And Kinger was the only one to survive from that original set to now be this set, being Pomni, Ragatha, Zubul, and all that. So he is the oldest out of all of them. He's been there the longest and has not abstracted.
It seems like they're implying that I mean, again, I can't seem to find anything. Whenever I look at Reddit, it's mostly like, this is how long each character has been in there, and they're saying like decades or a couple of decades, whatever, and shit like that. They're saying stuff like that. The only thing I have found to indicate when Pomni joined the circus, it seems to be 2017. Again, I have no clue. I don't know, because there's an Amazing Digital Circus fandom wiki that says that it's 2017. So Ragatha was in there for 9 years before Pomni got there. Which then poses more questions that, wait, if these are so branched apart by years, in some cases even maybe a decade and some change, this has been going on for a while. Why aren't there more in the circus? Who is getting these headsets?
Yeah.
My question is it military or some agency? I think it is, because with the long stretch between each new person joining the circus, it would make sense if probably some kind of agency, but they don't establish it. I don't know. Needless to say, we're a little underwhelmed. You said for Kane, what was it? Under a 4. I feel like Kane's portion left me wanting more in a way that the rest of the finale didn't. I feel like the rest of the finale was really trying to infer and imply like this is a series end. But Kane,
it was just more questions than answers.
yeah, I think Kane should have stayed dead because I think a good chunk of the questions would have remained as is, and we would have just had to accept that hey, they're stuck in the digital circus, and maybe with Kinger showing Pomni how to rebuild the digital circus, they just rebuild it on their own without Kane. But Kane coming back posed more questions, and in some ways, I think damaged the ending. I think Kane should have stayed dead, even though he was one of my favorite characters. I think he should have stayed dead, and I don't think that they established well enough how and why only like 8 or 10 people have ever been in the circus. What is going on? Why these 10 people? They're nobodies. So it would make sense if it was some agency, but Lord knows we'll never know. And if anyone else starts passing around the theory that's an agency, chances are, bro, they're just gonna start being like, we don't want the fans to get ahead of themselves, because with the Cain and Abel shit, and they'll probably just make it a joke too. Overall, how would you rate the finale? I think for me, first part is easy a 1. Second part is easy a 9, and third part easy like a 3 maybe, 3 or 4. I'd probably give the whole thing collectively 6. You give it a 5. Last thing I'll ask about the bus scene. How do you feel about the bus scene?
Because these people, like you said, we have no connection with them. We're connected to the people inside the circus, not the people that they're supposedly trying to find out they are in real life.
I would have been fine with seeing that if they would have escaped. I think it would have been a proper send-off. But for them to just be copies, it ruins the whole show.
If you, like you said, if it was an actual escape where at the end they find the exit, they escape back to the real world, and they are now living the lives that Kane showed them, then I think this bus scene at the end would be a proper send-off to show that they're all still there. But with how they did it, there's no connection to this real life, people on this bus. We have no connection to them. So what is the reason you're showing it to us?
So Dexter, actually, this reminded me of something. Dexter Season 8 is the same exact thing as the Amazing Digital Circus Season 8. Or, not Season 8, sorry. Dexter Season 8's finale reminds me a lot of the Amazing Digital Circus. I have to get all my words together so that I don't just get jumbled. I'm a mess. I'm stressed. Alright, okay. So, Dexter, same thing. Horrible ending. They kill off an established character, and they don't really give you much closure on it. They just kind of end the story, and then they end the story with an end credit scene that says, this is goodbye, and this is where these characters are left to feel. I felt the same level of emptiness. What I was trying to say with the jumbled words I got out is that I feel the same amount of dissatisfaction with the Amazing Digital Circus's, episode 9 finale as I do with the Dexter Season 8 finale, because for me, while there were good parts of both, and they definitely made me feel emotions in both, I felt that the needless killing of an established character didn't feel warranted in either one. I felt that the pacing could have definitely been better in both, especially in the endings. I feel that the post-credit scenes of each of those episodes felt very just, what? It just felt like, what? But all that being said, yeah, I just didn't care. I did not care for it.